Hello world, I'm Chris Pirillo, and you are watching TLDR. This is kind of a special episode of TLDR, or the LockerGnome Digital Report. You may remember watching this type of video in the other YouTube channel. If you're not aware, this is the new one. That's for tech and geek content. And I launched TLDR, or relaunched TLDR, through Patreon, and that is a service which will allow you to directly support me in being able to do something like this for you. So if you want to support me and TLDR and you want it to come back, well, all you got to do is head over to the link in this video's description, patreon.com/Chris Pirillo, and I've added a few values for people who decided to go this route because they wanted TLDR to come back. So, thank you and happy Valentine's Day. If you are not subscribed to the vlog channel, you may have missed the announcement that we put out there yesterday. I guess we also put it throughout social as well. We're pregnant. I was a part of it, but now Diana has the baby, and we're going to have a kid. That's kind of exciting news for us. I can't think of a better Valentine's Day present to give ourselves. I know Diana would probably want candy, but her tastes have changed. It's kind of weird how that happened. So thank you everybody for the well wishes and the support in that sense. It's just been a whirlwind of fun. And so to celebrate Valentine's Day and the fact that we are pregnant, I know that many of you miss gadgets, you know, when I talk about them or show them. So this particular mini jam box is a gift, not for me, for one of you. All you have to do to let me know if you want this gift is tell me if you want this gift. I have one of these to give away courtesy of AT&T. Normally it's $180, but one of you will have it. I don't care where you live. If you support me in one way, shape, or form, I'm just going to give this gift to one of you. Happy Valentine's Day. Thanks again for being a part of our lives and for supporting geekiness in general, and of course remembering to like, comment, share, subscribe, and whatnot. What other things could you do with a YouTube channel? I'm not sure, except receive a push notification courtesy of the LockerGnome app, free for iOS or Android. It's the way that you can find out when I am doing a video or putting a new video out there on YouTube, including these live videos. I'm going to be taking your questions as I look through the list of people who are commenting live. I've got a few tech articles and geek news to cover as well. That's typical of a TLDR, the LockerGnome Digital Report. I am the LockerGnome, as I have been for quite some time. By the way, we currently have 279 patrons. I plan on doing TLDR weekly starting at the end of February. So just so you know, we'll be doing more and hopefully more and more and more as time goes on. If you think I am worth the price of a bottle of water a month, thanks for your support. So let me go ahead and give some shout outs here. I'm going to be going through the people who are backing us on TLDR through Patreon, starting at the 25 level and above. This is monthly, by the way. So shout out to Courtney Ellis, Brian Roberts, Fraser Walker, Matt Pegler, Brian Brinkley, Brinkley. I thought it was Brinky, but it is Brian Brinkley. Thank you. Geekcast, that is Eddie. Hey, Eddie, over there in the UK. Jonathan Perez, Andrew Neocleus, Tony Ross, Ross Milne, John W. Dezel. And then for the 50 and up reward tier, we're going to be doing a Google Plus Hangout at the end of this weekend. That's the plan, and I've already posted a note for that. So if you ever wanted to do a Google Plus Hangout with me, I'm going to do it monthly with $50 monthly patrons and above. We have a shout out to Ben, also known as ACC, Daniel Hadley, Alex and Tom's Tech Advice and News, Mark, Chris. You guys got to put your last names in here, otherwise it's generic shout-out. Andrew Myers, Joey Hernandez, Ulvind Soli, Daniel Spiva, Christopher Wall, Jennifer Metz, and Tom Matthews. Then we also have Mark Hyder, Anthrit, and Brandon Hawkins. Shout-outs to every one of you. Thank you for making TLDR possible. Hopefully we will have more patrons as time goes on. So now that I got the thanks out of the way, let me jump over to some tech news. Change your password if you happen to be a Comcast customer, because apparently their database was compromised. Do that on a regular basis anyway. It's really a smart way of managing your account, and this is not a surprise to me at all. It could happen to any account. It's not just Comcast, but if you are a Comcast customer, change your account. Or if you know of a Comcast or Xfinity or whatever they're calling it this week customer, let them know to change their password. Tell them. Do them a favor, please. And in related Comcast news, they are acquiring Time Warner. I was only a Time Warner subscriber briefly when I lived in California, And yeah, I enjoyed it, really. But now Time Warner is going to be a part of Comcast. This kind of has me nervous. I'm not a big fan of, big companies, especially companies that I'd like to believe have a monopoly. Now, Comcast would, say, well, you could get DSL. I'm sorry. But 100 megabit per second download speed versus 10 or 12, it's not really competition. Yeah, you can get online, but come on. That's like the difference between an ice cream scoop, like a single scoop of ice cream, and a vat of ice cream, really. And so I don't know how that's going to play out. I don't know if it's going to get approved, the merger, but I color me not a true fan of that idea, if only because I find that there would be less competition. Now, there would be true competition if that pipe that's coming into the house here could be accessed or managed by more than just one company. And unfortunately, that's not the way it works, and I can't get fiber in my area. And let me tell you, the older I get, the more important fiber is, because it keeps you regular, your internet connection and your movements that you make that I probably shouldn't be talking about. Sorry about that. Oh, Eric Dennison asks, what is that screensaver? It is the Tix clock screensaver. Someone had made this based on the clocks that they saw on my console there. Oh, by the way, speaking of computers, I have backed David DeFranco's Indiegogo project. He's trying to, get enough resources together to get the new Mac Pro. And I said, David's been very supportive of our community, so I returned that support. I am backing his Indiegogo project. He's given it 60 days, but I think he's going to make his goal within a couple of days. He's got a fantastic community. Many people out there are also supporters of David. I believe in supporting content creators in as many ways as I possibly can, because that's what I am. And we do a lot of this stuff for you as well. See here. Next question before I jump into the next topic. Someone asks, where's Diana? Is she feeling well? Minecraft Kingdom X. She's right over. Honey, could you want to say hi? Here, why don't you jump in for a second? I realize this is about tech geek news, but she's kind of, you'll understand when she sits down. Oh, you smell good.
Do I?
Yeah, they won't be able to smell you necessarily, but they'll like your t-shirt.
Thank you. Yeah, I am feeling better. I have a doctor's appointment for a checkup, I believe, to make sure the pneumonia is all out of my system. But it has not been fun with the morning sickness plus pneumonia. It really hurts.
All right. Well, thank you, Diana. We appreciate the brief. Yeah.
Negative Nancy.
No, it's not negative Nancy. It's great, but like they came for the tech geeky thing.
Lay down, Larry.
I'm just happy that I'm no longer being viewed as a virgin because I've got proof. Ha! Took me 40 years. Other things in the news as far as tech is concerned. Microsoft is extending the date for OEM preloads of Windows 7 for business users. So, you may want to get a business if you want Windows 7. There was a campaign they had posted to the website, Microsoft. Brandon LeBlanc, I believe. And he's a good guy. Brandon's a really genuinely good guy. Works with Microsoft. I've known him for a number of years. Microsoft's trying to encourage the people you know to upgrade to Windows 8. But I don't think anybody's doing that, really. I don't have a problem with Windows 8 for what Microsoft wants it to be. The problem is it is not a genuine replacement for Windows 7, especially if you're using a traditional computer model that's not touchscreen. Windows 7 works well for you. I say stick with that for the extended time that you can. And if anything, you may have to get a business in order to get a license. I wouldn't necessarily go that far. I'm just saying that that's the case. What we have here, moving on, there's been a lot of news really coming out this week, but I'm just picking some of the headlines that jump out at me. And if you guys have a certain headline you want me to talk about, I'm watching the comments here as they roll in for the live YouTube video. Thanks again for tuning in. This was interesting because I happen to be a Google Chrome user. They have put into the latest Chrome beta 33 speeding up web apps by compiling JavaScript in the background. This is now a feature. So instead of compiling the JavaScript at this, in a consecutive fashion as they're rendering the web page, they're now doing it in the background. So they're taking advantage of what's likely already in your system, the hardware, and they're making the browser work faster for you, rendering the speeds and clicking a link and then the web page loads and you're good. You're ready to go. And that's one of the reasons why I use Chrome is that they're constantly iterating. They're making it faster. They're making it better. better. So that's just something that you may be interested in knowing. If you were not in the Chrome beta, it's easy to download. You can download it for pretty much every platform out there. This is funny. I believe it or not, I'm actually trying to stick to tech stuff right now, and people are asking, have you thought of a child's name? We have not. Well, we have, kind of, and it is not, by the way, it's not going to be Luke or Leia. We don't even know the gender of the child at this point. We won't know for a few weeks. You guys can tune in for the vlog for more information on that. PlayStation 4 beats Xbox One for January console sales, but Xbox One sold more games. I still have neither one of them. They're interesting, they're nice. You know me, I'm not a gamer. It's not really my thing right now. It may happen at some point in the future. Maybe the kid will, become a gamer and then I'll get sucked in. I have a feeling our child is going to be playing Minecraft or whatever. Can I say playing? I don't know if it's really a game. Building in Minecraft. Basher ended up tweeting out. We had quite a few other notable tech people say congratulations, including John Redinger, Techno Buffalo himself, Marquez Brownlee as well. Of course, I congratulated him in return. There's a lot of people think it's a competition between techies, but to me, it's not. We just love geeking out. So I don't know, is there a winner between the PS4 and the Xbox One? I would not say so. I finally saw the PS4. My brother Adam has it. He's the one who had celebrated a birthday this past week. At Frojive on Twitter, if you wanted to wish him a happy birthday. He's not quite 40 yet, though. Open source OS Tizen. Wait. Yes, Tizen. The way I'm remembering Tizen, it sounds like TIE Fighter. Tizen, it's an open source OS being backed by Samsung and Intel, has now gained 15 more allies. It's going to be very difficult for Tizen to gain traction in the marketplace, if only because Android, for better or for worse, is got really a stranglehold in terms of what manufacturers of hardware are using for their devices. Let me see here. Okay, great. I grabbed an Android device. It was a good chance. I've got a lot of Android devices on my shelf. Windows Phone has had a difficult time gaining traction, if only because of costs. Not to mention the developers aren't there. And there's been scuttlebutt suggesting that Microsoft should fork Android. I don't know if I would necessarily say that that's a good idea. I mean, hey, it didn't work very well for BlackBerry, so why do you think it would work well for Microsoft? Now, I'm not saying from a user's perspective you wouldn't want to run Android apps on Windows or Windows Phone. Yeah, it's cool. Ultimately, though, the best experience on a smartphone or a computer is with a native application, and you're not really going to find that. Even if Microsoft went the path of Amazon, and I don't think they should, taking Android and doing their own thing with it, I think that would do more to hurt the Microsoft brand. If I was Microsoft, and I'm not, obviously, and I want them to succeed because I live in the Seattle area, and I love a thriving economy, I would say that they need to double down on services. Services... It doesn't matter how I get to a service, whether it's a smartphone, tablet, computer, whatever the platform happens to be, I can get to it. This is what Google's strength is. I mean, I probably have more Google apps downloaded to my iPhone than I do Apple apps on my iPhone. Believe that or not. Google's got great apps for the iPhone. They don't care. What do they care if you're using iOS or Android? I mean, if you're using their services. And I think Microsoft needs to go down that path as they find their market share and mind share really eroding at I would say, breakneck speed. Daniel Crocker says, I've really missed TLDR. Well, thank you. I have missed doing it as well. But as I've outlined, and I did this on the Patreon page, I explained that I could not do TLDR in the way that you wanted me to because of certain market realities. And the way that I figured out how to do TLDR is to allow you guys to be backers and to help make it happen on a more regular basis because I do miss geeking out with you guys about this stuff every day as well. Finally, here come the 64-bit Windows 8.1 tablets. I didn't know that they weren't 64-bit. Okay, that's good news if you have a Windows 8.1 tablet, I suppose. Not really a big deal for me, but it may be a big deal for you, especially if you happen to be someone who edits video, specifically on Windows. My primary video editor at this stage, other than when I'm live streaming, is Final Cut Pro 10. They just updated it so that exporting is now twice as fast. It's insanely fast, and I love it. And I don't do any fancy effects or anything in it. But that's really how I've decided to edit my videos at this stage. No right way or wrong way necessarily to edit videos, so long as you get videos done. You know what I'm saying? Let's see here. I'm just scrolling through the headlines, not really seeing anything other than people talking about Diana's pregnancy in the comments. It's great.
I ruined it.
No, you didn't ruin it, hon. You don't ruin anything. Gestate. You just sit there and gestate. That is your job for the next 6 months. Gong Bai asks, Chris, what do you think about the Nokia's Android phone? Why their first Android phone is not flagship? Well, Gong, I think it's great that Nokia is doing that, if only because Nokia has had fantastic hardware. My first mobile phone was a Nokia way back in the day. My first camera phone was a Nokia. This is my only, the only prime Nokia device I'm using at this point in time, although Nokia continues to release more. I think it's smart for Nokia, and this is really before the talks between Nokia and Microsoft really, moved as far as they did. Smart for them to explore other options, because this is a great piece of hardware that's really unlocked with great software. And Windows Phone, and I've said that, you look back at everything I've said about Windows Phone, I think it's great for a platform. The problem is developers really genuinely don't care, because a lot of the users out there who are spending money are probably on iOS, or if they're users in general, they're probably using some derivation of Android. So, for them to experiment with Android, I think is a smart move, if only so they can keep that brand fresh, so that they're, unless they want to be known as Nokia equals Windows Phone, I think they should have that flexibility in showing Android running on the sorry, I'm blanking now. On Android running on a Nokia device. Thank you everybody for filling that in. Minecraft Kingdom X. Are vlogs gonna end? No, they're not gonna end. They're gonna get better, dude. I'm gonna have a kid. Can you not wait to see Baby Pirillo's first Android phone review? Right? Baby Pirillo's first time with iPad. Come on, those videos are gonna go viral. Right? Because we're going to give our kid a virus. No, not really. We don't want to do that. That's not really something we want to do. Diana is amazing. Thank you. Okay, back to tech. Come on, people. I'm trying, people. This is the problem when you open up your life like this. They want to know more. A Snapchat hack is sending people pictures of smoothies. Oh, it could be worse. What would be awesome if Snapchat just sent me a smoothie. I'd be a fan of that. So just FYI, if you got a picture of a smoothie, I had Snapchat running for a while. Unfortunately, a lot of the stuff that we were getting just wasn't vloggable. So it just ended up being a waste of time for me. I don't get Snapchat, but then again, I share everything, so it's not really a big deal. Google's $3.2 billion Nest acquisition is now final. Wow. So congratulations to Nest. I think this is a good move for Google. People have asked, Chris, do you plan on upgrading to Nest? I do not at this stage. I have Wi-Fi enabled thermostats, did a review on them eons ago. I think it was smart for Google to acquire because Nest and their team have done the hardware well, great consumer electronic products and services, stem to stern. I mean, not perfect, certainly, but that is, to me, a shot in the arm for home automation and smart home technologies. You may have seen my smart home 2014 video or 2013 video that I shot a few months ago on the other YouTube channel, the classic YouTube channel, which right now is only for vlogs. This is the Geek Tech YouTube channel that you're watching right now if you haven't already subscribed. Well, at least I try, unless my wife is pregnant and that's what you want to talk about. So it's a beautiful thing to know that you can have a full ecosystem of not just thermostats, but smoke detectors, and then other pieces of technology around your home in the same ecosystem that just works. And so I think it was a smart move for Google. Google really didn't have... did that sound right? Google really didn't have... yeah, they've got great hardware, but they had to outsource. This is the Nexus 4, LG, or the Nexus 5, LG. They're working with a variety of partners, but they didn't have anything in-house. And they didn't have a hardware ethos, and they don't necessarily have the consumer mindset when it comes to products. They really genuinely don't. Look at their track record. They are not Apple at all. Just because they have devices that compete with Apple's in the marketplace does not make them equal to Apple, just like they're not equal to Microsoft in every single way. So I think it was smart. I would plan on upgrading to Nest at some point in the future, maybe not immediately, but maybe as Nest releases more, Google releases more within the Nest ecosystem, I would consider replacing the devices, which are working well enough right now in our house, if only to get everything, pretty much in the same ecosystem. Oliver Kerr asks, are you going to be getting the new Mac Pro? I think I covered this already in the AMA we did earlier this week, making up for the one I couldn't do last week. I have kind of plans for it, but I don't know how well they're coming together yet. Keeping my fingers crossed that it could very well happen. And if it does, we'll do the unboxing in this channel and, of course, the review in this channel, and you will hear more about it there. What would you like from a 4th generation Apple TV, asks Matthew Taylor. I would honestly like to see less channel-centric navigation and more content-centric navigation. Why would you have to navigate so deep to get to this YouTube channel? Why couldn't it just be, hey, I love watching this YouTube video, but you may also want to watch House of Cards 2, which, by the way, was released on Netflix today. Can't wait to watch Season 2 of House of Cards. I became a fan after digesting it in a weekend last year with the first season. And I think it's a great model for content, too, by the way, and especially with the future of digital content. So that's how I would like to navigate my experiences moving forward. Forget about channels. You don't care where you're watching this video. You probably don't even know what channel you're watching this on. You know you're just watching it, right? Where do you care where it comes from? You know you like the content. And I think that's what I would like to see in Apple, the next-gen Apple TV. And I think what we will also see is more integration with AirPlay, gaming connections between, iPhone or an iPad or iOS device and an Apple TV, which I guess Apple TV is also an iOS device. They're using the same platform for the Apple TV. What kind of baby monitors are you going to purchase? Okay, thank you, EF Connect, for bringing it back to tech. Well, I just did a blog post about the latest Drop Cam, the Drop Cam Pro, and I think that will suffice. It's got all the features I want, it has all the security that I want, has everything that I might possibly need in a camera. Is it a baby monitor, in the brand? Not branded that way, but I really like what Drop Cam is doing, and so that more than likely is going to be the baby monitor for us. The drop. Did you know that, hun? This is an announcement. She didn't even know it. I just surprised her. Now you know what it feels like to be surprised with something. No, I didn't feel that surprised, but that's my choice, is the Drop Cam Pro. I blogged about it, I think, on chris.pirillo.com. If not that, then LockerGnome.com. Let's see here. What's the first computer going to be for your child, asks Robert Svensson. Well, this is just turning it... My life is going to be dominated by this baby. This baby is going to grow up geek, and I think their first book is going to be either Darth Vader and Son or Vader's Little Princess, depending on the gender of the child. I want the child to grow up geek. That'd be a great name, though. Growing Up Geek. The series name, Growing Up Geek. What do you guys think about that? Even if the child does not want to be a geek, they will not have a choice when they're a child. They will gotta mandate that stuff. First computer's probably going to be a tablet. Or a smartphone, really. And I think that's just the future of computing in general. I couldn't tell you which one outright, whichever one works best with kids. I haven't done my research yet, guys. Here's an interesting little feature addition that may be coming soon to your Google searches. Google is now showing restaurant menus in card-style search results, which is fantastic. Because I will often, wonder, or Diana probably more than me, wonder, what's the restaurant serving? How much? What are their specials? And you got to go to the website, and you go to the website, and you can't find the menu, or the menu's outdated. For Google to take those search results and just incorporate them in an organic search, man, Google gets more and more invaluable to me. And that is something that I wish I wish I could have more of these types of services. They got easier and more convenient. I mentioned earlier my frustrations with Siri earlier. In one of my social feeds, or maybe all of them. I'm not happy with Siri. It just never seems to work the way I want it to work. We were wondering as we were driving home from the ultrasound, well, how long ago was 11 weeks? And it turned out it was like on Thanksgiving Day. And we kept asking Siri. We had to ask it 44 times, and it never found the connection. Couldn't figure out what we were asking. I'm like, forget it. And that's how I feel with Siri. I feel more frustrated with that. I wish Siri was doing more like Google, and I hope Google continues to do well. What is the worst piece of tech you've ever used? I think we've covered this a while ago, but I guess I'll repeat it. It's the only product I've ever reboxed, really, and made it such a ceremony. The Surface with Windows RT, as they called it at the time. Are you going to get the baby the iPad Mini or an iPad Air? I don't know. Chris, loving the geeky hoodies. Thank you, Chris Wall, and thank you for your support on Patreon. What others do you have? Well, you'll see me wearing them regularly. This is my X-Wing Pilot hoodie, and we're going to be selling this, by the way. It has a visor, too, an orange visor over here. We're going to be selling these in the LockerGnome store, which is launching soon. If you want to buy geeky stuff, buy it through me. I get the credit, and you can trust me because I'm not going anywhere. Should I do the rest of the video? Well, can you go get the orange? It's in the closet on the hat shelf. It's a little orange thing. You'll notice it. You'll see it. I'm making my pregnant wife. You got to exercise, hon. It's good for the baby.
I have pneumonia.
She has pneumonia. She has gnome-onia. Hi, I'm Gnome, LockerGnome. See here, Microsoft. No. Mozilla. I read another headline, but it wasn't interesting. Microsoft staffing up to evolve the Internet of Things team. That's interesting, but they haven't really done anything with it. Mozilla is to sell ads in the Firefox web browser. How do you guys feel about that if you're Firefox users? Haven't really ever been a Firefox user. I use it, but not like I do Google Chrome at this point in time. Get there early with playing Star Wars music to Diana's belly. That is the plan. We are going to play all kinds of music for the child and see, if the child will come out with more musical talent than I. And hopefully they will, because I would hope for that. I wish there was one thing I wish I could do is sing. I love musicals. I love music, and I wish I had a musical instrument or could play a musical instrument. Thank you, sweetie. Thank you, woman of my future child. Hang on, let's see if I can get this to work here. All right. There we go. If you want this hoodie, you can have it. Well, not mine. You can get your own. Samsung Galaxy S5 teaser hints at new privacy and fitness features. And maybe this is coming on the heels of another rumor for iOS 8 and Apple basically with their pending potential product around the wrist having a health app for iOS 8 in relation to the iPhone or that wrist device that is still just a rumor. And I think that's another smart way of going and growing. I mean, you can get pedometer apps for your iPhone or your smartphone now, so it's nice to see Samsung is going down that path. But it's not just the idea, it's the implementation. That is what remains to be seen for me. And that's where I'm really going to reserve any final judgment. Great idea. We'll see how the execution works on either side. Let's see here. Oh, this is interesting news. With estimated gross revenues of $7 billion per quarter, iTunes, just iTunes itself, would be ranked 130 in the Fortune 500. Wow, that's a lot. It could be its own business. I mean, just think about that for a moment. That's a huge deal. Apple's raking it in. I mean, they're not. People say, oh, well, no one's using Apple. I don't know about that. You got to have data to back it up, and that's one hell of a piece of data there. $7 billion per quarter. Even if you're not using an Apple product, trust me, a lot of people are. A lot of people, to the tune of at least $7 billion. You can now play embedded YouTube videos on your Chromecast, so you don't have to be on a page or an app that supports Chromecast directly. You can use the Chromecast feature so long as you have a Chromecast in the house, and they're pretty affordable. I did a review. It works well enough for, what was it, $30? We use Apple TVs around here. I also have an Android TV. They called it Android TV. Google's changed their mind about TV so many times, I kind of lost track. Still love it, still use it. That is my Chromecast device on the other side of my home office. I did a review on that years ago, though. How can you tell is Patreon on YouTube? I don't know about Patreon on YouTube there, Emmanuel Acosta, but the link is certainly in this video's description. What happened to the Shorty Award? Asked Jasmine Crislow. Well, it's still happening. I was nominated for a Shorty Award in the video blogging category. And I don't know if I'm going to get it, but you can vote for it, or I guess vote for me on shortyawards.com. I had a page. I tweeted it out, posted it to the Instagram feed as well, which went out to all the social points of presence. So yes, it's still happening theoretically. Lonnie Brown asks, what are your thoughts on the iOS 7.1 beta? I've heard a lot of really good things, like speed increases. I've even debated putting the latest beta, I think up to 5 right now, on my phone or my any of the iPads that we have. But at this point I might as well wait, because allegedly it's coming out in March or April. I'm like, it's soon enough. But I heard the biggest reason to upgrade, more than anything, that they've improved the frame rate, the smoothness of iOS 7, and that was one of my biggest complaints that I had or have had with iOS to this point in time. Let's see here. I'm going to keep scrolling through. I see a couple of the questions, although I know I've already addressed a few of these before. Stanley Guerrier asks, hey Chris, what do you think about the leaked concept design for the iPhone 6? I've seen them, but I've always said this about rumors. Just be careful about what you put your faith in, right? Because you'll get excited about that product would be great, and then that company never ships it, and then you're disappointed in the company. Well, why are you disappointed? They never promised anything. So I look at them like, oh, that'd be kind of neat. Sure, maybe interesting, but I don't know. I have no feelings about it either way. Neither disappointed nor thrilled, really. Let's see here. Going through the headlines. This is interesting. This blogger, and this is in relation to the headline, paid Facebook to promote his page. He got 80,000 bogus likes instead. Now, this is speaking to a problem that I've had, really, with a lot of social platforms. And this is why, you can look at subscriber count, and it's not very genuine. I think subscriber count is very disingenuous. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I love saying, hey, we've got 100,000 subscribers. By the way, I think this channel, this new tech channel, already has 10,000, which I'm happy about. But really, how many of those 10,000 are going to watch this video? This is one of the reasons I had a problem with TLDR. I would do this longer video, and no one would ever watch it after it was live. People still wanted it, but I couldn't afford to do it because I made maybe $5 in ads. I'm like, okay, well, that didn't work. That was a waste of time for me, but it wasn't a waste of time because you still valued that content. So to me, you got to ignore the like count. You got to ignore the subscriber count. You got to look at total engagement or the people who are really there to support the things that you're doing. So any company that would buy likes or buy views or buy subscribers is just not doing themselves any favor at the end of the day. I believe that I've attained every single like, count, follower, whatever, in an organic fashion, but that's one of the reasons why the number that I am looking at specifically moving forward is the number of patrons that we're having. These people are the ones who are making this type of video possible. This is a true number. I may have 10,000 subscribers in this YouTube channel, but 281 people are saying and the things that I'm doing are worth more than a bottle of water a month. That's nice, or right around that. That's good. A couple bucks a month. Hey, did we start the video at less than 281? I really can't recall now. I think we actually got a few more patrons during the course of this video. That's rather awesome, I think. Let's see here. Should I start watching? This is asked by Jonathan Clark here. Should I start watching vlogs from the first one? Started at 568. Would it be a mad challenge? Lol. It's up to you. You certainly get the full arc starting back at number 1. You can see how it evolved over time. I like watching the old ones, though. I'm like, I can't even remember doing that. If I wouldn't have recorded it, I would never remember that day. So it's completely up to you. But the nice thing about the vlog is you can start it at any time. You'll probably watch it forever. Versus, you're interested in technology may change at some point. And watching this video a year from now, no one's probably going to do. Another challenge in doing TLDR the way that I used to on a simply ad format or ad-based format. And thank you again for your support at every step of the way. The vlog could be viewed at any time and be entertaining versus, are you going to really care about this news 2 days from now? A week from now? A year from now? Probably not. Google's Nexus 7 is finally coming to Verizon Wireless on February 13th, so that was yesterday. So congratulations there if you happen to have wanted Verizon service on the Nexus 7. Of course, you could have just used your smartphone to act as a Wi-Fi hotspot and connected that way. It didn't really matter where you went. Apple's iTunes Radio has now launched internationally. I have used iTunes Radio in the past, certainly on the Apple TV. But I think I would say Spotify, Pandora, then iTunes Radio if I had a choice. Like Spotify because I can jump directly into a song. I like Pandora because they've got a great range of music and selection. But, iTunes Radio, I don't want to say it's too little too late. I think it's a great option, but I really wish they would have been able to get it out the door a lot earlier than they did. So that's another one of those services that I'm kind of ambivalent towards. I don't hate it. What's there to hate? It's free. It's ad supported. I'm not going to complain at all. See here, I'm going to keep going through the headlines here, or look back at the questions. Oh, yes, 279 patrons at the video start, so we gained 2. I'm not really a math guy. I was hoping to if we can get 300 by the end of the weekend, I'm thinking about doing another couple special TLDRs for everybody, rounding up the headlines, and also doing the, answering questions, AMA, this kind of stuff, geeky stuff, tech stuff, geeky stuff. It's all, to me, it's one of the same. It's my life, right? And I love sharing these thoughts with you. Do you have any other headlines or news articles, news stories that you guys want to bring up before I go ahead and round out this video? I have to head off to another doctor appointment. Diana is still feeling a bit under the weather. She's doing well, by the way. Well enough, I would say. George Whitling, and I think this may very well be the last question because, I know your time is very, very precious. I did everything I wanted to do today, and that it included sweating. I said I was going to wear this for the rest of the video, and by gum, I'm going to do that. George Whiting asks, in the end, will iOS or Android win? Neither, really, because each wins on its own merits. It was, it went without saying, years ago I said this, there are likely going to be more Android devices on this planet than iOS devices. That was inevitable. iOS is simply a platform that Apple's going to use for their hardware. It's the way Apple operates. It's how they make their money. Android is clopen or closed open. In fact, the more Android kind of marches on, AOSP is really, splitting off from the Android experiences that you're having versus the Android experiences that Google wants you to have. And so Google is kind of locking down the idea of open source. So it's not that Android's open source and that's what makes it win. It's that the starting point for Android as a platform is open. The starting point. But, the APIs in that starting point may not be updated as frequently as what Google might update for the Google Play services. But you have to be, certified to be able to, run or I guess have those services on your device. But it's the fact that Android is open at its foundation, at the base level. So it's not cost free, but it doesn't cost money for a license if you're starting at that point. And so it was inevitable that there'd be more Android devices out there. Does that mean that Android's making more money? Well, Android, it's a platform. It's not going to make money. Does that mean Google's making more money? Well, they're not really making anything from Amazon's implementation of having forked Android. So winning what? Winning the battle of what? I think Android is evolving at a great clip. I think it's been really, I think that my fascination with where Android has been and where it's going started really with the Nexus 4. This was the first really genuinely good Android device that I happened to use. And from that point on, I've had a lot of really good Android experiences. But I don't think there ever should be a winner, because going back to what I was talking about earlier with Comcast and Time Warner, you don't want a monopoly, because once there's no competition, there's no need to improve. What's the need? There's no competition. So I would hope that if it wasn't iOS and Android, or Android and something else, or iOS and something else, I would hope there will always be two major players. And I would consider iOS and Android being the major players. Apple is making money hand over fist. Google is doing quite well with their services, and Android is doing even better, I would say, than Google, to the point where Google's trying to rein it in, saying, oh my God, we're losing money because these Android devices aren't using Google services. We need them to use Google services because that's how we make our money. Google doesn't make anything from Android outright. They need their services to create that value back for them. So it's a great question to cover, but my answer is I don't want a winner, and I don't think you would want a winner either. And if I've covered this question or answer before, it's because it's a common question that fortunately will hopefully, well, I said not fortunately, hopefully never come to pass, that we have one clear winner, because it depends on how you're measuring. Winner what? It's not just one metric. It's many metrics. No clear winner, and anybody who says anything other than that really doesn't know what they're talking about. And so I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. Now that I've said everything I needed to say, let me once again thank everybody who has supported me throughout the years, who has continued to, I guess, remain faithful to themselves, faithful to us. Subscribe to the new channel. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, watch more of the videos, do whatever you got to do. And thanks again to all 281 patrons. That's the number I love to see. I want to see it increase. One of these days we'll have 1,000. We'll keep doing TLDR till we hit that. And we will. Mark my words. Mark them. Good luck, though. You got to print them out and then mark them with the marker. It's not easy to do, really, especially in a video. Thank you again for being you. Happy Valentine's Day. Thanks again for tuning in and watching this far into the video. And I guess we'll see you in the next video that we do, whenever that is. I'm going to take this off now.